Welcome, everybody. This is the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thank you so much for coming here and hanging out with us. Hopefully, you're seeing us on the Instagram. Nate says it's streaming on Instagram, but we got a notice from our streaming platform that Instagram was having some issues. So, hopefully everything goes okay there the way it is supposed to. And it's good to be back. I've been absent for a while, but we'll chat about that a little bit on the show. And with that said, we're going to get rolling here. If you have a comment, suggestion, let us know what you're drinking. Ask us anything. We're an open book. Until you say something we don't want to talk about, then we're closing the book. But yeah, just drop in the comments, and we are going to go right now. Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. It's great to have you here, and it's great to be back. I've been absent for a while. I've been ill. I've been illin', down with the sickness, as they say.
Down with the sickness,
yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is Beer Guys Radio. I am Tim Dennis. I am back, and Brian Hewitt, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. It's been a long couple of days, but very presentation heavy. A lot of me talking, and that's a lot more work than people realize. Like the effort of, and maybe not for somebody like you, Tim, who has spent a lot of time in sales,
running
and
my mouth,
and talking
professional mouth runner.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of years shut in like a dark room with a computer, not saying anything to anyone, and it's like I've adapted. But man, I got to tell you, I burned some calories running my mouth doing this, so it's not nothing. But I'm fine now. I've had a beer. I'm working on a second one, and things are going well now, Tim. Things are going
good.
Well.
People that do physical jobs a lot of times don't think. My dad still doesn't know how I actually earn money with what I do. Like, he just does not get the concept of why I get paid for what I do, because he doesn't see any tangible work there, and I'm not making widgets, or as my dad did, he was a steel man. He was in the steel making business, his whole life, and a tangible product that he could see there. But I've done physical jobs. I've worked in a foundry. I've worked in a power tool factory. Not for me, Brian. Not for me. Much respect to those jobs. There's some hardworking folks there. But, sometimes people don't realize that something where you do sit behind a desk can still be absolutely exhausting.
It definitely can.
Yeah.
I have worked in a vineyard before. I actually picked grapes, and I was very tan and very thin and very fit. And
all of those things surprise me.
I felt great at the time, but I would much rather sit at a computer and talk to write code and that sort of thing. So but that's great for being fit. You can eat whatever you want. You're working 8 hours a day in a field. Basically, you can do whatever you want and get away with it, and surprisingly energetic too. So I don't know. There's trade-offs, but man, I get to sit inside, and I don't get rained on. I'm not sunburned. I'm not cold, not too hot usually, as long as the air conditioning is working. So works out pretty well.
That's good. Yeah. When I worked in the foundry, we had a job there that they were called grinders, because they would take the foundry I worked in. We made valves for like oil pipelines, fire mains, and stuff like that. And when you cast them, you have to grind the, edges off of them, smooth them out. And these guys did this by hand. And some of these, I think the biggest one they did by hand was like 65 or 85 pounds or something like that. And the guys loved to work that job because it paid a bonus. Like the number of pieces you did an hour, you could make more money. Man, that looked like guys leaving a bodybuilding competition after doing that for 8 hours. So it was, if you want to get fit, man, those blue collar jobs can definitely get you there.
So you said you worked at Grindr, and there are a lot of built dudes. I'm just going to say giggity and leave it at that.
I've been back for like 5 minutes, and you already need to shut your mouth, Brian. So yeah, Nate, we're going to move on to you, man. How are you doing?
Doing well. I'm doing well. It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
dipping my little toe into the foray of being a co-host was interesting to say the least, but I
2
definitely
weeks
learned
in
a
a
lot
row,
about.
huh?
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you know, you learn something new every day. Today I learned that Brian used to be tan and fit and
And a vineyard worker.
worked in a
Yeah.
vineyard. Yeah, picking grapes.
I only had a goatee back then. I wasn't clean shaven. I haven't been clean shaven in a long time, but I only had a goatee back then. So I was looking pretty fine back in the mid 90s, if you can
There you
believe
go.
it.
See, I remember the goatee days of Brian, and if you look at pictures of Brian, he's aged 30 years in the last 10 years. Like
I've seen photos
the
of goatee
full
Brian.
beard looks better on Brian than the goatee thing did, but it did bring a lot more gray to the party there. So, you know, definitely he looks more wizardy now than he did 10 years ago.
I'm okay with that, actually. I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah, no problem getting older. But you know what, y'all? I know Brian likes to say on assignment when one of us is out. I had COVID, y'all. I had COVID, and the first week I was out, it was really kicking my tail, and the second week I was out is just because I sounded like I was still horribly sick. I didn't feel too bad, but you know, it had to run its course. But I'm better now. I lost my sense of smell for a full week, which was weird. If you've never lost your sense of smell, you wouldn't realize how odd that is to just, you know, smell nothingness. And you know, so that's come back some. It's been an interesting time, but
is it all the way back, or are you still just
you know, I don't know.
percentage?
I've smelled things like you know, we've talked about it before, Brian. We're into colognes here, so that was a big thing. That's the way that what caused me to take a COVID test, because I didn't feel like I had COVID. It didn't feel like that from what I remembered. But there's a vintage cologne called Polo. If you're a child of the 80s or 70s or probably the 90s, you know that. But it's very potent. And I sprayed some of that and took a sniff, and I'm like, that doesn't smell like anything at all. And it didn't trigger to me at first. So I sprayed a different bottle that I had and smelled nothing. And that's when I'm like, I've got COVID. I've got COVID. So
Get one of those really super stinky, deep, woody ones that smell like a barnyard.
Ones there. Yeah.
Feces
Well, that
and
was
barnyard.
Yeah. So I took the test, found out I had it. So I was locked in my cave, you know, for a weekend, that is one thing working remote, Brian, talking about our desk jobs, man, you love those weekends because you get out, you know, get out of your cave some, and I couldn't even really do that because I was, you know, I had the plague.
Seriously, if you get into a habit of where you're working at home, you're doing everything online, and you wind up like running late. Like yesterday, for me, as we're recording this, I spent the entire day doing things, and then I had more stuff that had to be done by this morning, and so I was working on that into the evening hours. I didn't leave the house. I might have looked outside once or twice just to see what the weather was like that I wasn't experiencing. But yeah, I go days without getting outside, which is probably not healthy, but
not great. Step out and take a walk, Brian. Just go to that little park next to your place and at least get some sun, get some vitamin D in you, get some fresh air in that. Because they make it too easy these days. They'll bring your groceries to you.
Yes.
They'll bring prepared meals to you.
Yes.
You know, you really don't have to do much of anything. And you can still get everything. Amazon will have anything else. If you can't cover it, those two, they'll have it to you the next day. Or I think in Atlanta proper, you guys even get same day on some stuff, don't you?
We do. I have gotten stuff like on the same day. I wonder if I can order somebody to go go for a walk for me, and you know,
you don't get the benefits though. You
get the benefit of that.
You can.
We get a blood transfusion or something. Like, give me all that vitamin D you just got.
No, you just lose money on that.
So that's terrible.
But anyhow, beer talk, y'all. Let's get into it. Let's talk here about our beers of the week. Brian, what are you sipping on?
Oh, I'm getting attacked by that. So I pre-gamed with something interesting. Mo, Mike, Nate, and I were talking about this last week. Snow beer. I had snow beer. I had the one that they released in the U.S., Brave the World, which is a 5% lager, pale lager, basically, is what it's in there as. Not a lot of information about it. Apparently, they're trying to break into the U.S., and they've been doing this for a little while. I don't think a lot of people know about them. We're aware of them because we saw that they were in a list of the most valuable brands and some of the biggest sellers in the world, and they were only available in China. So it was not bad. It was in a green bottle. It had a little bit of funk, but also there was a softness to it. It was a pretty decent lager. I actually kind of liked it.
Is this a new beer for the U.S. market, or is this the one that's popular over there?
I think it's a new beer for the U.S.
Okay.
market.
All
Honestly,
right. Gotcha.
it's called Brave the World. I think that they've come up with the version for here because I think the one in China, Brave the World is a 5%er. I think the one in China is like 4%, 4 point something percent. So
Well,
it's
that's what
not
I
the
want to
same
try.
thing.
I want to
Yeah,
try what they're getting there. That I want to try that beer.
yes, but here's the thing, and I went looking because I saw that they were in the country. The only snow beer I saw was just this one. But so
Okay.
I've had
Gotcha.
something from that company. I have not had the beer that they drink in China, and I don't know if we'll see it or not. But I've had something, so it was
Okay.
fun to see
Cool.
that
Cool.
after several years of being aware of that. Right now, I am drinking Parish Brewing's collaboration with Jester King called Goats in the Machine, which I think Mo Mike Nate had a few weeks ago. Uh, uh, New England double IPA with Maui Nelson. I'm not sure what Maui Nelson is, but Motueka hop keef, Nectaron, and Citra hops. So it's really nice, very enjoyable. And after that, probably after the show with the Patreon folks, I'll be getting into the Weldworks Trillium collaboration called Juicy Tiles, which is a hazy double IPA with wildflower honey. So looking
Fancy.
forward to those. Yeah.
Fancy. Nate,
Yeah.
what are you sipping on this week?
So for the month of July, I'm going damp July, so I'm going to be pulling back my drinking. So I only have one beer for my beers of the week. So my beer of the week from Two Tides Brewing is their Saint Bibiana, which is an Italian Pilsner. Very light,
Okay.
very refreshing,
All
very
right.
enjoyable.
Good stuff.
Are you drinking anything else? Is it just water plus that beer, or do you have something non-alcoholic to follow that up with?
No, because actually I'm cutting back on the drinking for health reasons. And
Mm.
so, as we learned last week, non-alcoholic beer is not as healthy
I have
as the
thoughts on that.
control of water. But anyway,
True.
so I'm actually just trying to reduce all alcohol consumption, and we'll try not to do NA beer.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Different take on things.
Yeah, I don't want to rehash last week's topics necessarily, but I did see that article, read up on it. I think it's what's the term for when they you fear tactics or whatever. I mean, I think we all knew that it's not a health food. It's just,
Yeah.
of course you still got some carbs there in that. And
Mhm.
if you look at a golden ale or a lager style NA beer, the calories are extremely low. So I don't know where they pulled all their stats from to say it's still got this and this and this, but a lot of them are considerably less carbs and calories than their alcoholic counterparts there. So it's they I think there was a little bit of fear in there, little anti NA beer propaganda, I believe.
Just a bit, and because they didn't compare it to, for the most part, to regular beer. And I think it's just kind of a given when something is on the incline as much as non-alcoholic beer is. It's still growing. It's still killing it. There's a lot of eyeballs and attention to be grabbed if you can come up with a reason why it's a bad thing. If you can come out there and be the first person to say, wait, hold on, this is a great, everybody's into it, but it's bad for this reason, you're going to get a lot of attention. And I think that's really what that is. So they skewed,
so be it.
they really did this one dirty to, yes, it's it's not a health drink, but it's healthier than people that were drinking like 8 beers a day. Like if they start drinking a bunch of these instead, like that's still better for them.
I'm really kind of surprised at the negative response to NA beer because I kind of feel like it could be something where either you were excited that it was there or you just didn't care. That was kind of my thing. But I think some people are looking at it as an enemy to craft beer. You're taking over that. But again, I think it's something that it's its own thing. It's good that it's an option that's out there. And to be honest, if you don't want to drink NA beer, you're not going to. If you don't see any need to, if you don't feel you need to cut down on alcohol, if you're not in a situation where you can't have alcohol or something like that, then you're not going to drink NA beer. And again, we talked to Athletic when they were pretty new. A small. We've known those guys since they kicked off and have seen them grow, and they put just as much into theirs as any craft brewer does. So I've got no hate for NA beer. We can both play on the same playground, and we may just have different friends, and we may share some friends. That's just kind of the way it works out.
This beer for other occasions that you couldn't drink beer at. Like
Yeah.
I want them to actually keep doing it and make it better. I want it to
Right. Keep getting
I want it
better.
to not be obvious that there's a difference at all.
Well, a great example, Brian. I have had the last year, 2025, has come at me swinging with all kinds of ailments and things. And like this week, I do not have a beer because I am on some medications and cannot do that. So for me, having good NA options available, at this time when I can't have it is great. I don't have to worry about it. And when I can drink a beer, I will. So, but I can still have a beer with the guys and not have alcohol that way. So anyhow,
Yep.
That's my thought. Let NA beer do its thing. Don't think it's a health elixir. It's not, but it's just an option out there to get rid of some alcohol and in most cases save a few calories. Yeah.
Indeed.
Unless you get one of those peanut butter stouts, because they're still stacked pretty heavy there.
There's nothing wrong with those either.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of that.
Well, y'all, Nate's got another style profile for this week. Y'all did share that you kind of enjoyed those. And to in line with his beer choice this week, he's going to tell us about Italian style pilsners.
Yeah, so according to the Brewers Association, an Italian style pilsner is meant to have a straw to golden like appearance. And for those of you watching the show, I can't really come in, but it looks, golden.
All right.
And then it should be clear, so there shouldn't be any chill haze in the suspended in the liquid. As far as perceived malt and hop aroma and flavor, it's going to be a little malty sweets, and it should have some light biscuity attributes. And then as far as the hop aroma and flavor, the hop is going to be pronounced aromatic, and then it's usually derived from late hopping and dry hopping. Perceived bitterness is going to be medium to high, so it's going to be a little bit more of a harshness of a hop bitterness. And then as far as the body, medium to low to medium. And then the head is going to be dense, pure white. And then looking up popular check-ins on Untapped, I see Untitled Art has one, Jester King has one, New Image. There's a lot of breweries that are doing these now. They seem to be really popular and in. So it shouldn't be that difficult to find you an Italian Pilsner and try this for yourself.
Do you know, Nate, what the key difference is in an Italian Pilsner versus like a Czech Pils?
I
Like
don't
what
at the
makes
moment.
what makes it an Italian Pilsner? And I've actually heard this before, but I don't recall exactly. Brian, do you know off the top of your head like what makes it an Italian Pilsner?
I think it's the an emphasis in the dry hopping, and particularly like the floral, the herbal, the peppery type of attributes in your hops. I think it's that dry hopping to accentuate, and it should be very crisp, I believe. So I think it's the concentration on dry hopping, whereas I don't think that's a focus when you get the Czech or the German stuff.
So here I'm doing a risky thing here, and I'm gonna trust that ChatGPT gave me the correct information because they were nice enough to put this in a pretty little chart for me here. So here's a summary of the different beers and the features of both Czech, Bavarian, and Italian Pilsner. The malt profile of Czech Pilsner is rich and bready. Bavarian is going to be dry and crisp, and the Italian Pilsner will be clean and light. The bitterness level on the Czech is moderate. The Bavarian is higher, which I did know that. And then the Italian Pilsner will be moderate to high. So can have some fluctuation there. And on the hops for Czech, Saaz are floral and spicy. Bavarian, German are noble hops and more bitter. And on the Italian Pilsner, dry hopped and aromatic. I think I did remember hearing that with those
right.
Italian Pilsners. For body, Czech Pilsner is going to be medium. Bavarian is going to be light and crisp. And the Italian Pilsner will be crisp and effervescent. So I guess
sounds
we're carving that one up a little bit more.
Definitely there's definitely that difference in body between Czech and Italian. I hadn't thought about that, but for sure, yes.
And then yeast profile for the Czech Pilsner is going to be clean and may have some esters. The Bavarian Pilsner is very clean and dry. And then the Italian Pilsner will be very clean and bright. And finally,
Sounds right.
signature trait, which I guess this will be exactly what sets them apart. Signature trait of the Czech Pilsner is its balance and softness. The Bavarian is its sharp bitterness. And the Italian Pilsner is the aromatic dry hop twist. So
Sounds right to me. Yeah.
There's your
yeah.
info on your Czechs and your Bavarians and your Italian Pilsners.
Do you like me some the Bavarian Pilsners as well? Yeah, those are quite
See,
nice.
I was always Czech Pils was my thing, and I do believe I've had a few Italian Pilsners, but not that many. But it definitely sounds like that would be my jam. More of those.
They are really nice.
Yeah.
I'm so in love with Bitburger and the and Ada from Halfway Crooks, both German Pilsners, and I really like that style. And it feeds it basically is like, yeah, I'm a big IPA fan and like West Coast IPAs from back in the day. So the bitterness and the crispness of those, it just makes sense for me, to be into that. They speak to me. I like the other ones as well, but man, I do have I hold a candle for the Bavarian Pilsner.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Bavarian Pilsner appreciate you, Brian.
I'm glad it does. I appreciate it back.
Yes. Y'all, if you're listening to this show the weekend it released, then you are listening on the 4th of July weekend. So it's actually coming out July 5th. Wait, is that right? That's 5th.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's technically
so actually
the 5th,
releasing July 5th. But we have some July 4th consumer predictions from Numerator and CGA on what we may see in drinking this weekend.
That's right, by way of Brewbound. And I thought it would be fun because we won't know what the actual numbers are for probably a few weeks at least. So let's see what people intend to do. So to start off with, 70% of consumers surveyed plan to celebrate the 4th of July, which is a small 3% decrease from 73% in 2024. A little bit of a drop in that regard. But how did they plan to celebrate, you ask? Well, 57% plan to grill and or barbecue, and I kind of forget the difference between the two. But I'm equal opportunity. I will eat both. I can do neither of them, but I appreciate both being made available to me. 55% plan to gather with family and friends. 31% plan to attend public celebrations like parades and fireworks. 29% plan to cook or bake at home, and I assume the bake is the oven type of bake, but I assume that there's a few of them that are kind of laughing and say, yeah, I'm going to bake at home. Sure. And 20% plan to host others, possibly to bake as well. 44% plan to buy some form of alcohol to celebrate, which is down 4% from 48% in 2024. What do they intend to buy, you ask? 74%, hooray, we're going to buy beer. 36% were going to buy spirits, and there were no numbers for wine purchases, which I thought was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. 38% of consumers plan to visit on-premise venues, bars, and restaurants, etc., for the 4th of July, which is a 7% increase, going up from 31% in 2024. I have to wonder if this offsets the drop in people planning to buy alcohol for their, events at home, their non-venue events. The people visiting on-premise establishments, the number of people is higher for younger age groups, which is interesting. 53% of 21 to 34-year-olds plan to go, 50% of 35 to 54-year-olds, but it drops to just 18% for 55 and older, which kind of flies in the face of everything we've been hearing about Gen Z. So I guess that they are either all of our numbers are wrong or they're finally getting cool with alcohol. So that's interesting.
The way things are today, they're like, you know what? On second thought, we are going to drink.
Yeah, we were going to be healthy, but we're stressed out about everything. It's time to drink.
Yeah.
Once again, beer wins the on-premise drink of choice award at 41% for the on-premise consumption. Whiskey and vodka both come in at 25%, tequila at 23%, cocktails at 22%. And again, no wine figures. And I have to wonder if this wine just wasn't an option in this survey, because wine has been having a rough time lately, but I don't think it's been at like a 0% rough time. I think people are still drinking some of it, but they just must not have been asking about that at all. It's very weird.
Must have been.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you know what? Tequila doesn't surprise me. Margaritas. Yeah. I mean, the 4th of July is a good margarita weekend there. Brian, I do want to go back to something you mentioned, because I think as an American, it's important for you to know this.
Okay.
Grilling and barbecuing.
That's right. Okay.
So
Yes.
grilling is like your burgers and dogs or your steak. It's
Yeah.
over a flame or coals. That's grilling when you're right there. Barbecuing is slow and low, man. That's a slow and low.
Oh, gotcha.
That's when you get your briskets, your slow smoked briskets and pork butts and ribs and stuff like that. So that's the differentiator there. Grilling is you throw your meat on there and it's done in 10 minutes or whatever. So and then barbecuing is the slow and low cooking.
I think in our neighborhood, the grilling is the more likely thing to happen,
Yeah.
but I
I
have
like to grill. I like to
yes.
eat barbecue
Yeah, I
or
like to
both, actually.
I like
So,
both. A good there was a chain that around here for a while called Backyard Burger where they got the whole
yeah,
flavor of a burger that had been on like charcoal grill. Man, I love that because I love that
yeah.
that taste of a burger off the grill in the backyard. Wonderful. And I don't ever do it, and I didn't remember what the difference was, but man, any of that stuff at all, I'm in for it. Like
Dude,
make
burgers
it,
and
I'm
dogs on the
down.
grill is
Heck
totally
yeah,
fine. Like I'm never upset with that. It's always a good time.
heck yeah, heck yeah.
Good stuff. Nate, what about you? Do you grill and or barbecue?
I grill and I like to eat barbecue. So I'm like you,
Yeah,
Tim.
fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I like knowing people that know how to barbecue.
Hmm.
They're good friends to have.
Yeah, the folks that actually spend the time to smoke it, I'm impressed by that, and I
Yeah.
like that conceptually. I know there's
Yeah.
just no chance I would ever would ever
Well,
do that.
we're in one of the pockets where it's really an art. It's a religion
Yeah.
now, with barbecue. And we've got you know what? Relative news to Georgia's barbecue scene this week. I had mentioned in our Discord chat that we passed some new laws in Georgia that went into effect July 1st. And the two biggest ones were we now allow I'm going to derail what I'm about to say by sharing this one, but we now allow human composting
I thought you
in
were
the
going
state
there.
of Georgia. And then the other one is that we made Brunswick stew the official stew
Oh
of
yeah.
Georgia. And it's something that if you're not from Georgia, you may not know Brunswick stew. But it's a staple. Almost any barbecue restaurant you go to in the state of Georgia is going to have a Brunswick stew. And it's
Yes.
going to have like tomatoes and corn and potatoes. And the sauce is like a tomato based broth or sauce. A lot of places put some of their barbecue sauce in there, so you have a little sweet tang from that. And then chopped up leftover barbecue. So it may have
Yeah.
some chicken in it, may have some pork in it, just various ones. So every place has got their own take on it. But that's a Brunswick stew.
I love it, but is that originally from one of the Carolinas? Do you know, or is that a Georgia
I
thing?
don't know. I don't know if it was. I think, if I'm not mistaken, because I think I looked that up one time, and I think that's debated. I think like maybe South Carolina's like, yeah, that's ours, and then Georgia's like, no,
Nah.
we're taking it. We're
No,
taking
it's
it.
not.
So yeah, but it's a common side here in our fine barbecue establishments.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. Brian, before we move along, how about we give a shout out to Truck and Tap?
All right. So I hope you're having a great holiday weekend as you're listening to this. And if you find yourself out and about, don't forget to drop by your local Truck and Tap. This weekend, possibly while you're listening to this, several locations will be throwing their luau party. I've seen the tiki drink specials, and they sound great. There's coconut and pineapple everywhere. Wonderful. There's even a drink called the banana hammock, and you're going to have to get one of those. I mean, you got to, right? But if beer is more your style, and it might be, let's get into my Truck and Tap beer picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Goats in the Machine from Parrish. We all love the variations, and collaborations Parrish does with Ghosts in the Machine line. They've collaborated with Jester King, as I said before, because I'm currently drinking this. It's great, but I'd like to get it on tap, so I could get that at Truck and Tap Woodstock. But again, it's a double IPA with Citra, Maui Nelson, Motueka Hop, Keef, Nectaron, and Citra hops. So very good. Go get you some of that. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Anchorage Brewing's Must, M-U-S-T, a mixed culture sour finished on the skin and juice of wild Alaskan blue and Haskap berries. I don't even know what half of those berries are, the Haskap part. Not sure about that, but I'm excited to see some beer from Anchorage here in Atlanta, and I like mixed culture sours, especially on interesting berries. So I'm going to get that and see what happens. Haskap might be really good. Who knows? At Truck and Tap Alfreda, my pick is Weldworks Juicy Tiles, which is a hazy double IPA made with wildflower honey. That's what I'll be drinking a little later. I really like the idea. I don't recall if I've seen another double IPA with honey recently, aside from the annual drop of Hop Slam. So I like seeing another interpretation of what that can be. So I didn't plan this to be drinking the same things I recommend. They just kind of came together.
Just happened.
Yeah, it just kind of happened.
Serendipity, so, Brian.
At least you know when I'm making recommendations that I'm actually drinking the beers I'm recommending. So, and finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Perennial's Sun River Gold IPA. This is another New England IPA. I'm going with a lot of IPAs this time, but this time it has Mosaic and El Dorado Cryo. Between the name and the hop combination, it just sounds like a good time, so I'm going with it. And there you have my beer picks for the week. To get the full tap list for each location, as well as event and food truck information, check out truckandtap.com. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thank you, Truck and Tap. We love you guys.
We do.
Guys, it is summer. It's officially summer. Like we said, 4th of July weekend. I think that officially says this is summer here, even though it starts a little bit earlier. But as we go into the summer months, Brian, do your drinking habits change?
Not really. I'll be honest with you. I think I drink a lot of IPAs and drink a lot of German Pilsners, and I just continue to do that. And I mix in over the weekends. I typically will get into my more interesting stouts, and
bigger beers. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like my drinking kind of remains about the same year in and year out. Again, I spend a lot of time indoors in air conditioning, so I don't get all the same seasonal cues that other people might get.
Right.
So no. Okay. Answer is probably no.
All right. Nate, how about you, man? Do you change your drinking seasonally?
I don't think I necessarily change the frequency of my drinking seasonally, but I think that I definitely tend to favor more of the lighter stuff. Even though we do agree that stouts are for summer, I don't partake in stouts nearly as frequently as I would the lighter, like the IPAs and my favorites of the Pilsners, which is the Italians.
I think I'm with you, Nate. It's not that I don't shun stouts. Like I've heard people say, oh, it's way too hot for these big stouts. No, if one strikes my fancy, I'm gonna drink it. And we've had stout bottle shares in the summer before. So they're gonna tell us how to live our lives. Temperature. If we want big stouts, then we're gonna drink some big stouts. But I think I do trend more to the lighter stuff.
I think by the time we hit summer, we definitely have to put the embargo in place on Oktoberfest beers. In fact, probably it's springtime.
They're out already, Brian.
Oh, probably. But
not probably. Like Nate shared a picture the other day in June. We're in July now, but they had, I think it was Highland, maybe. Who was it, Nate?
It was Highland. It was Highland Clawhammer, the Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
The store was receiving a fresh case of it that day. There we go. That photo.
That's it. How's that for some creeping?
Yeah,
we lose Brian. He looked like he zombie-fied on us there for a second.
He broke out about the seasonal creep so bad.
He did. It got him, man. We have killed someone with seasonal creep.
Am I still gone? I can hear you guys just fine.
No, you're here now. You just you seem to glaze over on. You look like you were baking, maybe some cookies or brownies.
That's what I was doing. Some of that 4th of July baking.
Okay, all right, good deal. But yeah, anyhow, summer, and another thing I will say this: a lot of the bigger stouts and those bigger beers come out in the winter months. So
yes,
I think that also helps me go for more of those because there's so many good ones releasing at that time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a fact. But that is all to lead up to Total Wines and Whole Foods have some info on what they see as our summer beverage trends.
Yeah, this is something cool that Brewbound's been doing for a year or two. They've been talking to these getting the beverage trends from the big chain stores out there, because they're seeing what people are actually buying, and what people are buying is responding to what the trends really are. So according to Total Wine and Whole Foods, craft beer is still under pressure. I think that's not mysterious to anybody. I think we all kind of realize that. While spirits-based options are gaining traction. That said, here's the bright spot. Some local craft is really strong right now, like really strong. And it's the problem is large legacy national craft beer brands are pulling the overall trends down. So some of the big guys are like not doing so well, but the local guys are killing it. So lighter beer styles remain popular for both domestic and imported beer options, and Italian pilsners seem to be doing really, really well now. Specifically, Italian pilsners, they're having a hot moment. Apparently, non-alcoholic beverages continue to be a bright spot with sustained interest from the health conscious and the moderation minded consumers. Summer sales they started slower in 2024, but non-alcoholic products continue to show strong growth despite that. Athletic Brewing in particular is killing it at Whole Foods from the sound of it, so they continue to rocket ahead.
I think I actually heard they're the #1 selling beer brand, and not just non-alcoholic beer, but I think I heard Athletic is #1 overall at Whole Foods.
Really? I'm not
Yeah.
surprised by that at
Yeah.
all. I mean, that they totally fit into the whole ethos of Whole Foods. The interesting thing that I took away from this is lemonade and citrus forward beverages seem to be a strong trend right now. So we're probably going to be seeing a lot more Radlers. And I have been seeing Radlers a lot, like in Truck and Tap, their list. It seems like every week there's at least 1 or 2 Radlers. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw it announced a bunch of places. I debated really even bringing it up, but Giada De Laurentiis, you know who I'm talking about, the celebrity chef. She's got a whole thing with Peroni. So they've got the Italian Pilsner tie-in and Italian ice, and it's a lemonade or lemon flavor thing. So it's a frosty. I don't know exactly what Italian ice is, but it seems like a sherbet with beer in it, and it's lemon flavored. So it's a citrus, and it. You say no, Tim.
Yeah, Italian ice is they call it kind of funny. I think they call sometimes the odd name is I think they call it like water ice. And I'm like, that's kind of redundant. There used to be a chain called Rita's that had a few places in here, but it's I don't want to say it's like a slushy because that doesn't do Italian ice justice, but think in that ballpark, Brian.
Okay, that makes sense. A few years back, we had slushies were hot beer slushies. So it looks to me like basically a Peroni Radler slushy is what it looks like. That a glorified version of that.
Yeah.
And it's got a celebrity spokesperson. So that ties into the hotness of the Italian Pilsner plus the hotness of everything citrus. And so that looks to be set up to just explode and do gangbusters. But another interesting thing on the other side, Guinness sales continue to grow thanks to all the continued pop culture attention. I just saw another Split the G video that made the rounds the other day, featuring someone famous. I'm trying to remember. I think it's a musician, Dua Lipa or something like that. I'm not,
okay.
I don't know for sure.
It has to be Dua Lipa, and the only reason I say that is because there's no way you'd know that name other than if it was connected to beer.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I saw that, and there was a video of it, and it was making the rounds, and that person split the G successfully, and it's like, everybody's excited. So yeah, that was neat.
Brian, I think I still have a case of our horse pop over here.
Oh, now is the time for horse pop.
Yeah. And see, we could do it. What is it called? A Thai beer? Thai
the ice beer or whatever. What was that called?
Ice beer or something, but I'm forgetting the exact name of it. But for those that don't remember, I think it was last year, maybe the year before. Thai jelly beer.
Jelly beer is what they called it. Yeah.
So they've got this contraption that basically spins a bottle of beer in ice, and it doesn't like make it froth up. It just ices it down. And when they pop the top and pour it into a mug, you get a beer slushy. So Brian, we could do the reverse of it. We could use our horse pop and then have the beer be the slushy, and we could make a Radler that way. And
a Radler with horse pop. Okay.
Yeah. To fill those in that don't know, horse pop is a beverage Brian and I made in our homebrewing days. So this is vintage at this point, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while since we've brewed anything, but there was a recipe that went around the homebrew forums that was, the name of it's terrible. It was called Skeeter Pea. And it was basically a lemon wine or a hard lemonade kind of thing. And it's pretty boozy. I mean, this stuff's no joke. And I know Brian's wife likes it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
A big glass of that, you'll get a little tipsy off of it. It's no joke. But
10+%, I think.
Yeah. So we made a batch of that, and we bottled it in like 750 wine, but it's a still beverage. It's not carbonated. So, we bottled that up in some 750s, and I'm pretty sure I've got a case of those still floating around there. And to be honest, it's delicious. Nate, have you had it?
No,
We'll
this is
have
the
to
first
get you a
I've heard
bottle,
about
man.
this.
We'll have to get you a bottle, but it's a very potent, very sweet, very lemony beverage. Really great over ice. So yeah, as we're talking about summer drinking and lemon based things being there, this would be a good choice.
I want to make a cocktail with it. Put it in a shaker,
Yeah.
put a little something else in it, shake it
A
up,
little
get nice and
vodka,
cold, and
some mint, a little
yeah,
mint lemonade there.
maybe some various bitters and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe throw an amaro in there, something interesting. I bet you we could make something. Oh, there are so many. We could use that in the place of the lemonade that you would typically make in some cocktails, and make a super duper version of some cocktails. I'll bet that would be great. I like this idea a lot. I like it. A jelly, a jelly horse pop, or a Radler horse pop, or just a cocktail with horse pop in it. Any of those sound great.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
time. This is what we've been waiting for. I
Brian,
only worry that it might be a little oxidized as old as it is, but I don't know if there would be anything in there to actually oxidize. So I don't know.
and I mean it's nice and sealed up, Brian. So it should be all right. And it's definitely not a beverage that um a hard lemonade is not something. I'm not out there sourcing mics or anything, but the fact we crafted it with our own two hands, with our own
Yes.
blood, sweat, and tears, definitely makes it very nice. So Stephen Pete here said that he made the Pete's made some Skeeter
Oh
Pete.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but because it's a fairly simple recipe, and I think anybody dabbling in home brewing, there was one. And there's another tip. If you're a home brewer, there's a mead out called
Joe's
Ancient Orange Mead.
Yep.
And you actually ferment it with like Fleischmann's bread yeast. And it's a super simple recipe. And Brian and I did a couple variations of that. We went on a bus tour of breweries one time in Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
And they told us, bring your cooler with you. You can do that. And of all the beers we tried, everything that was shared on there, like 80% of the people on that tour said that our mead was their favorite beverage of the day. And I don't know if I have any more bottles of that, because that definitely got better with age.
Yes.
And the last time I had it was very smooth. And it's one that if you like a dry mead, you'd hate this one because it has a lot of residual sugar. But I like to get it ice cold and have it kind of like an after dinner cordial. Brian, you've got like those stone glasses that I think we put in the freezer before, and then that's perfect. You don't really need much more than that of it, but it's nice.
Aperitif. It really gets to the point where it doesn't even need to be chilled with time. The key with that is it takes a lot. The ingredients are very inexpensive, or very easy. Honey's gotten expensive, so it's gotten a little bit more, but it's very easy to make. Time is the big thing. Like, give it some time. It does need about 6 months. But was that the trip, that bus trip where I passed out?
Yeah, and I
got to try something I really wanted to drink.
I think we had like Cantillon and Dry Fontaine at the time, and I think we have a picture of you on the bus, crashed out with us, like holding Cantillon bottles over you.
That's
good times.
Fantastic. Man. Yeah,
good
great.
Times. Good times. But yeah, summer drinking, man, some good stuff there for sure. Well, Brian, moving right along there, some beer yeast news out here, and if beer couldn't already save everything, it's now being used to make new medicines.
Yeah, so this week we learned that beer yeast is a key ingredient in a new green tech breakthrough for medicine creation. And I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, but scientists at Cal Foscari University in Venice, along with some international collaborators from around the globe, obviously, discovered that beer yeast can be used for rapid analysis of macrocyclic peptides used in modern medicine. What are macrocyclic peptides, you ask? I'm embarrassed for you. You should know this. Actually, I have no idea either. But according to the article I read, they are a promising new drug, or they are a line of promising new drugs that have fewer side effects due to precision targeting and stability, at least compared to traditional drugs out there. AI, if you trust AI, calls them the Goldilocks of drug development, where they are just large enough to bind to the things they need to bind to, but not too large to enter the cells they need to enter. Basically just right in terms of size. So before the discovery of beer yeast as a mechanism for analyzing these peptides, scientists had to use these complex and slow and difficult and environmentally unfriendly processes to do the same kind of work. So how they did this is researchers manipulated yeast cells to become mini micro factories that fluoresce when producing a specific compound, enabling the rapid analysis of 100 million different peptides. So they made yeast that glows when they want it to glow to indicate that things are going well, apparently. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The article also mentions related, one of the other great things beer yeast is good for is it was found last year to aid in the recycling of electronic scrap and remove lead from water. So in case beer yeast wasn't cool enough already, it does that too. Is there anything beer yeast can't do? I'd say no.
No, and I'm now stuck on bioluminescent beer. So, I'm just kind of waiting for that. We put glitter in it before.
Yeah.
Glitter beers were a thing for a while. So
maybe we can test these macrocyclic peptides while we drink beer. If our beer turns green, then that means that's a good medicine, and we probably should stop drinking it and send it to a scientist or something.
That'd be good stuff, man. That sounds like fun. Yeah. Impressive, though. Impressive, the stuff that they can do out there these days. Science is amazing. Well, Brian, the Incans. We have a story about the Incan culture. Then it says that beer, again, Brian, once again, beer can do anything, but beer kept the pre-Incan culture stable for 500 years.
Yeah, 500 years. So they some scientists, some researchers, archaeologists used an archaeometric laser, which I've never heard of before. They used the methods of that on Wari, pre-Incan Wari culture ceramic vessels, and they found evidence of routine beer brewing and social gatherings. The ancient there was an ancient brewery that was actually discovered 20 years ago in Peru by the same person that was involved in leading this particular study. So this has been an ongoing thing. New technology allowed researchers to extrapolate data on ancient beer production and its role in complex political organizations. So the Wari brewed a sour beer called chicha, which we've all heard of before. I think that's a maize-based thing, I believe. Anyway, it has a short shelf life, like about a week, which means that people had to gather at regular intervals to consume it. Regular festivals and beer-laden social gatherings were thought to have been integral to the Wari society, with up to 200 local political figures attending events to consume chicha from large adorned vessels. I'm not sure how they arrived at that, but they've extrapolated a lot. So the short lifespan of chicha prevented its shipment, so they couldn't send it to you. You had to come to them, which was crucial for centralizing these gatherings. On top of that, pepper berries, a key ingredient in the brewing of chicha, were available during a drought, ensuring there was always a steady supply of chicha, even if there wasn't a lot of rain. It is thought that the brewery that they discovered was producing an estimated 400 to 500 gallons of chicha at a time. So there's a lot of that to drink. The study concludes that the Wari's consistent ability to brew and offer beer was a paramount reason for their empire's 500-year lifespan. So if you want your country, your organization to last a long time, you need to brew some beer. That's going to keep everything together. Beer is the great, it's for beer for longevity. That's what it is. Yeah.
Now, Brian, as you were telling us this story, it made me think, I thought I'd heard another story about the Incans in their beer before. And so a quick Google search did confirm this, that they also made what they believed was a hallucinogenic version of their chicha. And they said that they would combine the chicha with seeds from the vilca tree. And that vilca was traditionally used at smoking or inhaling the powdered seeds, and was said to be a hallucinogenic. And they said the reason they did it was for political control, creating social connections, and they say here exclusive experiences, Brian. But
exclusive experiences.
So I could definitely see, if they say that the beer kept their culture running there, that throwing some hallucinogenics into the mix there probably helped that out pretty well.
If you were a political figure and you had the very nicest of outfits and whatever, and you were giving people hallucinogens, that may have made you look even more glamorous and exciting.
God.
Yeah, it made you look like maybe a god. Yeah. And they didn't know necessarily that they were getting drugged, but it worked to keep them like stable. I'm like, hey, I'm the god here. I'll do what I say. And they're like, all right, yeah, he's the god. Did you see the snakes coming out of his head? Definitely the god, you know.
I did
Yeah.
see that. Yeah. Can I have some more chicha? So.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit more.
That stuff's
You've
good.
had
You know,
enough.
that is nice. That is really nice. So
That's right.
Brian, Garage Beer is giving
Yes.
away a beer bed. Nice smooth transition on that one there, but that's our next story. Garage Beer is
Yes.
giving away a beer bed.
Yeah. Yeah, the Incans would have done
You
this
can
too
sleep
had they
off your
thought of it.
chicha
Yeah,
there.
that's right. They would have a chicha beer bed, but so I think this is basically their attempt to one up Miller Lite in marketing gimmicks. But Garage Beer, who I see a lot on social media, specifically Twitter, it's co-owned by Jason and Travis Kelsey. I saw somewhere where everybody's saying their name wrong, and it's like Kels instead of Kelsey. But anyway, that's another thing. They have created something they're calling a beer bed. What is a beer bed, you ask? It's a custom-built bed with a working kegerator in the headboard. So very much a beer bed. And they're giving one away on using Instagram and Twitter, a.k.a. X, if you call it that. The giveaway runs from July 1st to July 15th. And if you win, you get the beer bed frame, which is the kegerator, a new Casper mattress, which I think I've heard of that before. Must be a good mattress. And a functional tap system that pours cold beer from 2 headboard mounted taps. Amazing. The beer bed features a real kegerator built into the handcrafted wooden headboard, like I said, that dispenses beer. The whole thing started out as a joke, but they decided that the beer bed had to be a real thing to be effective, because in the past they've only just done like social media content, only joke stunt type of things. And I guess those didn't give them quite the push that they were expecting. They got me talking about it, so I think it's working out for them. Anyway, so this is a lifetime promo because there's only one beer bed and it will be given away. I think they only ever made the one. So if you're interested in doing a lot of drinking in bed, chicha or not, keep an eye on Twitter and Instagram. And I think you have to just respond to it and retweet it or something like that, and you get entered. So if you got room in your house, you make room in your house if you want to be able to drink in bed from your own beer bed. There you go.
Man, I'm all for cool beer prizes and gimmicks and all of that, but dear God, this seems like the one idea that encourages the most horrible lifestyle.
Yes. This is not encouraging good behavior. This is not what you do if you're healthy necessarily, but
you call into work and they're like, "Are you hungover?" You're like, "No, I'm still drinking.
It didn't stop.
I haven't even got out of bed yet." So.
Yeah. I couldn't even. You just tell them it's like, no, I just couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. It's because you got like a pitcher, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
I guess you wouldn't need a pitcher.
You got the tap right there.
The whole room's spinning. I feel queasy. I haven't even got out of bed yet.
I'm gonna say that I would love to go to a place that had that, because I would definitely try it once, but I think the first time you spill a beer in bed would be the end of it.
It'd be awful.
Oh, no, this is gross. Like, no, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I'd be a good boy. I'd just put water in mine. Nice little carbonated, a little soda water before.
Get some of that. Yeah, get some proper brewing water like they used to do at the studio way back in the day, where the good like chilled brewing water, not the tap water, which was terrible over there, but the good brewing water.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, that type.
It was.
That's
It was
right.
great.
I forgot back when we had our studio, Ironmonger. At one time, their water was off of their cold water tank.
Yep.
So you'd get just this, conditioned, just delicious water, and they did a remodel and just ran it through like the regular plumbing, and it was such a letdown, because it was at one time really, really nice water.
Chilled and delicious, and we'd have a carafe and go get it. It was just wonderful. And then the tap water, gross, just
Such
so gross.
Disappointment.
Oh,
so
terrible.
sad.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, one more story, and it's always nice to end with a feel-good story, but the San Francisco Giants are going to be giving away free beer at games in July.
Yeah, it's great news for anybody that lives near San Francisco and likes beer and baseball. They're offering a free beer with any ticket purchase during the month of July, specifically for games between July 7th and the 30th. Each ticket holder receives a credit for a free Coors Light or any other concession item up to $16 in value. So I guess that means Coors Light is about $16 there, which is crazy. But it's not a bad deal when you consider you can get a ticket for the game for as low as $15 right now. That's kind of the thing. So basically it's like $7.50 to get in. I think I'm doing the math right, and $7.50 for a beer. That's still $7.50 for a Coors Light, but not as bad as $16. So not a bad deal. But don't get any smart ideas. The credit expires at the end of the game, so you can't save them for later, and you can't give them to somebody else or find a way to sell them after the game. Though I'm sure people will try to do that. But yeah, so if you're looking to have a good time, yeah, go catch a game and get yourself a free Coors Light or whatever else is $16 at the concession stand.
Sounds like a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Catch a game, get a free beer, man. Can't argue with that.
I'm in for that.
Good stuff. Well, y'all, thanks again for joining us for the Beer Guys Radio Show. We really appreciate you. Appreciate you. If you enjoy what we're doing here, we would love it that if you would tell a friend to tune into the show, subscribe to the podcast so you get new episodes as soon as they drop. If you really dig what we're doing, we would be very appreciative if you supported us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys, and we'll get you cool perks. We'll get you in the Discord chat server. We'll invite you to hang out for the after party. So there's just so many great benefits with all of that. But with that said, y'all, we hope that you all have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Good stuff. Good stuff. Y'all, thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Again, we are going to be doing the after party here. If you are a Patreon supporter, just look in the Discord chat. We'll drop that link in there for you. But y'all have a fantastic week, and enjoy your 4th. For those that watch the live stream, enjoy your 4th. Do some grilling or barbecuing. Get baked. However you like to party. We're not going to judge you. But y'all have a good one. We'll see you next week.